Hi, Karen.
Hi, Stefan. Nice to talk to you. How
Nice
are
to talk
you?
to you again. I'm good. I'm good. A little bit tired from the week, but yeah, looking forward to the weekend. How about you?
I'm always looking forward to the weekend. But what about a check-in?
Yeah, let's do check in.
Tell me one thing that you're pondering about, something that you learned or you stumbled upon and that goes around in your mind.
I'm kind of looking at how the work will change in the future with AI, etc. pp. And one
Mhm.
thing I stumbled upon was the gig economy.
The
Did you
gig
hear about that?
economy? What's that?
Yeah. So there's a theory that now that we are in a world of work where we are employed for someone and we we have these multiple projects and we have kind of a job description and role, and that this will change in the future to more like a gig economy. What that means is, for example, if you have a big movie, it's like a gig, or an event. You would put together a team of experts to pull off the event, like the ESC in Basel, for example, right? So
Oh.
you define this big objective, event, goal, or whatever, and you source the people based on their skills. And the theory is that we will go into this gig economy in a couple of years to come. So we need to be more clear what we do, and it's more like a self-employed status. Of course, there still will be companies, but maybe that's a good model for the future. I find it very interesting to look at this.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we have to think about that too as a company, right? What
Mhm.
about you? What went through your head this week?
Actually, it's also it could be related to that. It's more on the marketing side, and I was asked about what drives me to do this. What's my origin story? What is behind this?
Okay.
And then, yeah, you go and look in your own history. What are some things that stick out in your memory
Mm-hmm.
during your early teens or pre-teens? What is like a moment of that sticks out, which comes to your mind when you think about, okay, what do you do today? Where's the bridge? And for me, it was like this moment when I helped my grandfather with his computer. And the first time I felt empowered to be able to help someone with something he wouldn't be able to do on his own.
Mm-hmm.
And that I was able to make people so grateful for that and to really help them. And I
Yeah.
recognize that this is driving me till today, to be able to, yeah, to help someone. That gives me immense sense of gratitude at the end of the day and makes me really feel fulfilled.
And we talked about this a couple of years ago, right? Where we defined our purpose, our vision and scope. And you said, for me, when I help someone every day, I get purpose out of this. And I found it fascinating because I was looking for this big purpose, and you were just defining it in this day-to-day basis to say, when I help someone, I have purpose. So it's very empowering, I think, because you can work with anyone and everywhere, and you will find a sense of purpose.
Yeah, it's the small moments for me that really count. Yeah.
And it's also overrated, this purpose thing. I heard a podcast, and I think it was a reel where the lady, she said, purpose is overrated. We should follow what excites us, what makes us like,
Hmm.
what makes our eyes glow, etc. pp. Because this purpose, it puts a lot of pressure. And it's maybe also a generational thing that we were like instilled to search for the bigger meaning and purpose. And when you look at Generation Z or Generation Alpha, they just try, they're entrepreneurial, they follow their passions. It's maybe more passion than purpose.
Yeah, and probably it changes for them also a lot. I could imagine
Mm.
that something gives them energies and they find some purpose in it. Then they walk a few miles on that path and realize, oh, okay, it's more something different, and they pivot from there or go into a more specific direction. Yeah.
And we see it with our clients, right? When we work with them, they have a job title, they usually have expertise in something, but when we work towards strategic goals and look at what their beliefs are, we find the why behind. And it strikes me when, remember we had this conversation with one client. He said, I'm building this company because I want to leave something behind. I want to leave a legacy behind, right? So of course, it's a certain type of company, it's in a certain type of industry, but the belief system behind is also very important. So overall, we're so complex as human beings is that we need to really look at these kind of elements to really drive change as well, right?
Yeah. And this fluffy, soft stuff that we're currently talking about, in the end, if you look back at the last 10 years and all the assignments you were on, it's the fluffy stuff that sticks with me. Sometimes I can barely remember the project titles I was working on, but I can tell you exactly the people and their stories in it, what motivated them, where did they live, like the small personal pieces, their story is what really is sticking with me.
So you call it the fluffy stuff. So you mean the interactions with the people, the emotions, the emotional journey. And when I thought about this a couple of days ago, it's really like this, right? When we work with people, they hire us for a certain strategic objective or a project, but what they really want is that we bring the people along or we help them in their journey. And
Yeah.
and that's also what motivates me. I really want to put that on the homepage, to be honest, and say, this is what we do. But then people ask me, so what do you really do? Are you doing project management? Are you doing coaching? Are you doing consulting? So what do we really do? Maybe we should talk about this today a little bit. Like, how do we help the customers? So
Yeah.
you can basically take this video, and if they're interested, they can watch it, right?
Yeah, and also we can answer the question, is it really needed in the age of AI to have external consultants helping you? Aren't they redundant?
Yeah. So for me, and you maybe read the post I wrote, right, about consulting is dead. Consulting has changed. What does a consultant do? A consultant comes in from the outside, first of all, right? He's not part of the internal ecosystem or political system, at least not for the first couple of months, weeks in the collaboration. Maybe they can stay out of it, right, the consultant. So they come in, and then also they have a very specific objective target because they will get a contract, a statement of work. If they have a service together with the customers like we have, you have like specific service goals every 3 months or every 6 months. So it's related to what I said in the beginning. It's the gig economy. So you really have to prove your center of competence. You have to find a gig which fits to you, and then you will work with your customer on it. You bring your skills, you bring your expertise. And just this morning, I read an article that most of the CEOs are produced by consulting companies, funny enough. And it's not because of the expertise, it's because they have this they have this ability to thrive in uncertainty, they have action mindset, and they really have to solve a customer problem, right?
So they had to get comfortable outside their comfort zone and basically were forced to grow over time.
Yeah. And do we still need consultants in the age of AI? Yes, in a different version. We still need, as a human beings, we need to implement stuff. We need someone to drive it. And maybe we have it inside the team. But if you have someone outside, they can help you create this focus. And you know how it is, right? We have so many things going on in the day-to-day life of the clients that they sometimes do focus on the strategic goals. And if you have someone paid for this to say, okay, guys, we're working on the strategic goal, let's break it down, and let's make time for it. We reserve time for it, we make a workshop or whatever, then it really gets done. Otherwise, someone else needs to do it.
Yeah, so basically, we help our clients to create the systems so that they are permanently chasing the important objects instead of the urgent firefighting stuff that keeps on chasing them anyway. So we force them to take time out of their calendars, spend time working with us on something that drives them closer to their goals.
Yeah, and this discussion of what do we pay the consultant? What is the value he's generating together with the team? It's a very important discussion which forms the scope of the assignment. You would normally not have that. Maybe in an ideal world, you should have that with internal people too. That's part of portfolio management. That's part of how you organize strategic initiatives. What do you really do inside your company? What generates value in the end for the customer? And that's not always immediate value. that can also be delayed value. Sometimes we have to do something like we do at the moment a lot with compliance, etc., pp, which has to be done so the company stays competitive and in the market. Regulatory, for example, right?
We should also consider that there are different types of consulting.
Yeah.
And what we are focusing on, which is more organizational development, we are not really bought for our expertise in something specific. We are bought in for what we can get done. So basically enabling the people we are working with to get to their goals, to get to clarity, to be able to stick with what really matters, and help them to create the systems around it, create new ways of working that work in this complex times that we're working in.
Yeah. How would you do that? Do you have a specific example you could share?
Well, I think it all starts with creating a working, functioning team, a team that trusts each other, a team that feels comfortable working together, and that they have a clear goal that they all want to reach. So it should not be a goal that's forced on them by the company, but mostly it's you have the strategic direction where your company wants to go. And then the team decides, okay, how can they support this goal now? What do they have to build to get there? And that's where we come in and help them. Okay, how can they derive now from the strategic level? What is it that they can do? How can they ensure that they work on it consistently? How can they measure where they stand? How do they make progress? And what we often do is then create like a sequence, a cadence of, for example, workshops. So normally it's each quarter we do a workshop with the team to see where do we stand on our roadmap. Do we have to adjust something? Are we going in the right direction? Is the goal still relevant? Do we have to update it? Has something changed in the environment? And sometimes you have to really adjust it and see, oh, okay, we can go along, but this is not relevant anymore because our competition has changed. Something new came up in the market, and we should pivot and focus on something else entirely. And we accompany them on this journey and make sure that they follow through.
It's a focus on what's value adding and what can we drop as well. What can we stop? Because sometimes we drag stuff along and it's maybe not even helpful. If it hasn't been done for 2 years, maybe it doesn't have to be done at all, right? And it's an emotional journey. We cannot forget this, right? It really requires a certain set of skills, and we know that some leaders have this skill to inspire and to bring people along. But it's also a form of protection which we need to create with the team, because as you said, the goals should not be created by the company. Like, they can be inspired, right? So they can be a strategy and then the team takes this. But what I sometimes see in the last couple of weeks and months is that there's a company goal and it just gets copied without interpretation, because there's a lot of frustration that this goal might be changing, or that there is a transformation or restructuring coming and we should not do anyway. So what we encourage to do is to still go on, even if there's another restructuring coming, if there's another announcement coming, right? Go on and do these small steps.
Well, our work is, we both are used to work in environments where reorganizations are happening, and we come in the middle of that or at the beginning. And of course, there's always a period of time where it's unclear what happens now, what is changing, what sticks, which people are being let go, and who is staying. And we basically help the teams to see, okay, what's the value that you can create in the meantime, in this intermediate period when change is happening, that you don't lean back and say, okay, now I'm waiting till I have clarity what's happening, and then we can do new stuff. Because basically you can wait away years, because change is always very slow happening. And also, of course, it's an opportunity for you to position yourself, to position your work, to position where you want to go also. So every one of us has their personal goals, their personal strengths. And you can use this period to say, okay, now let's build something valuable for the company, which is still relevant also after the change, and where I can grow in the meantime.
What we also observe is that Sometimes systems are not created, and then the people in charge, they have to firefight, and they have to stay in their role where they should not be, right? Because they haven't managed to create a system in place, or they haven't managed to create the role profile. So this is where I think organizational design comes in. When I talked to a client a couple of months ago and told them that we do organizational design, I was like, well, we don't need that anymore. Like, we're very adaptive, we change, and we build working teams, we build focus teams based on the problems we have. And I was like, that's organizational design, right? So we have a lot of terms: consulting, organizational design, strategy, which is coined from like years ago, and people, they heard it once and they have it in their mind like this, but also we changed a little bit, and our context, our market, our dynamic is changing, so we filling these words with new interpretation, right?
Yeah, and it varies from company to company because everyone has their own words that they use. So yeah, in the beginning, you should clarify what you mean with these words when you work together.
Yeah. How much do you think it's necessary to understand IT in the days of digital these days? And to, for example, if someone says, oh, we need to be more with AI, we need to do more digital, how do you think this competence is playing in?
I think it's very crucial to understand how to work with AI, but not everyone needs to understand what is behind the curtain, how the AI is built and set up, and how it works.
Yeah.
But considering that all of us have a computer on the screen and we need to work with it every day, so you need to understand what it does, how it works, how you can get better, how you can use the tools that are there. It's the same with my fridge. I don't want to understand how my fridge is working, why it is cold inside. I just want it to work, and I need to understand how I can operate with it. So what should I not do, for example?
That's true, yeah. And some stuff is not changing, even if we change the technology. Yeah, so we want to bring people along, and we want to implement strategy. We turn strategy into tangible results. And we do this through different methods, right? Coaching, mentoring. Sometimes it's workshops, sometimes it's just a short time, sometimes it's a longer time. So yeah, I think it's this is the summary. We should put that somewhere, right, on the homepage, so people can watch it if they want to.
Yeah, for me, it's our clients know exactly where they want to go. They know they're experts in their strategy, and we're the experts for getting it done and helping them implement the strategy, execute on it. And that's where we are helpful because, as you said, we come in and we can focus on one thing, one important piece. We're not in the entire environment. We're not bombarded with different stuff that we have to tackle, that we have to take on. We can be your permanent reminder to focus on this one important goal that you have and to follow through.
And also adapt as part of this process, right? Not like there will be an initial set of problems and initial set of goals, but then as part of the journey, we will find out what works and what doesn't work. And that's maybe the entrepreneurial mindset which comes in. Or we don't stay there and say, we just execute, or we really want to create something which lasts for the company. And sometimes maybe say we're kind of an enterprise agile coach. Also, the times of enterprise agile coaches, the agile coach definition, the role will change too, right? For me, the fundamental task of someone in this kind of role of as a scrum master, agile coach, or coach will be to ensure that the team is working on, as you said, this North Star goals and ensure this flow to unblock stuff. But as you said, we will enable the team to do it. So there will be some person or two person, or there will be a culture of speaking up and saying, guys, are we doing too much? Right? So in the classical understanding, this agile coach or scrum master was to create a flow within the team. But the flow we can create by bringing them into another mindset. So also this kind of, so all the roles will change. And what it will be more important is to stay in this entrepreneurial mindset, whatever that means, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's correct, because I mean everything is adapting. But let's be clear, some reason why companies are hiring also externals is because of politics. Sometimes it's easier if you have an external person on board and telling the team, no, that's not right. That's not how it is done, because the external has like a benchmark from other companies. And sometimes you trust more what an external person is saying to you because you see them as the expert, although you might have the same expertise or higher inside your company. Sometimes it's really politics that come into play, where you use the external status to push through and give your own interests some more push.
Exactly. And so we take a role as an external facilitator, and we have defined this 1.5 hour, I would not say giveaway, but it's a 1.5 hour sessions we do, the problem buster, right? To say, bring a strategic project, a strategic problem or a challenge you have, together with your team or 2 or 3 colleagues. And what we offer is to have 1.5 hour with you, and we will go through this. And after this session, you will have more clarity on where to go, maybe what to do, right? So an external facilitation, so everyone can try out and without a risk, book us for 1.5 hours, and we will do this together with them, right? So they can go on a homepage and ask for this. And I guess it's a good way of starting an interaction and seeing how the working relationship is, right?
Yeah, it's a free trial, basically. And you as a team lead can step back from the role of being a team lead and focus more on creating something with your team, being more in the brainstorming mode and not having to facilitate the session as well. So basically, we enable you as team lead to be more creative in the session itself without worrying about setting the scene, about where it leads, documenting stuff somewhere. So yeah, it's like an addition.
Very nice. And we also have a video with you explaining this again on the website, so people can check it out. That's it for today, right, Karen? Then we have given the audience a little bit of a feedback what we're doing. If there's any questions, get in touch with us. And I can only wish you a good weekend now.
That's the end of our episode. If you liked this, please like, share, and subscribe.